Welcome to the Endurance Balance. I'm Coach J.W. McKenna. Joining me are Coach Alicia Phillips and Coach Ann Sharkey. Together, we break down the 80-20 philosophy through the lens of real life. Our goal is simple, to help you fit the training into the chaos. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to the Endurance Balance. I'm Coach J.W. Joining me at the table are Coaches Ann and Alicia. We've all been there. You crush a workout, look at your wrist, and the watch tells you unproductive, right? All have been there. Don't tell me you haven't. Today, we're tackling the good, the bad, and the ugly of wearable tech, okay? It is a tool or is it a trap? How we use it, some tips and tricks on, ways to get around not being so reliant on it. First, however, we've been putting off for a couple of weeks just because our conversations have been so great that doing triple events in a short period of time. And so the case study, if you want to call it, that I'll be using tonight is the Sinister Triple, easy for me to say, the Sinister Triple that Jess is going to be attempting once again. And at the end, if they're successful, they will get a belt buckle. Okay. How, we'll talk a little bit about how you physically survive. So think about it, 3 ultras, even if they're minis, we're talking 55 plus K per event, or 50K on average per event within 6 weeks, right? So every 3 weeks, you're going to run an ultra, and then we're going to talk about how you can survive that. Before we get there, let's open up the logs. We'll talk about the highs, the lows, and or the hummels over the past 2 weeks. And Alicia, we'll start with you.
All right. Well, it's so funny you say that because one of my athletes is like, my Garmin tells me I'm peaking today. And I'm like, I swear, I just wish my Garmin would tell me every day you are amazing, you've had a great sleep, and your HRV is great. That no matter what, that you would just be, everything is better, right? Versus when something tells you you suck and your sleep is terrible, suddenly you feel like kind of tired.
That is true.
I will say from a me standpoint, the winter blues is real. I feel like I've tripled up on my vitamin D intake, and I just want to validate anybody who is maybe feeling this too. And you're just feeling blah, like you just want to hibernate. This is your opportunity to just get out and go, or join a class, or do something that you're just not used to. Because I went to a conditioning class and I was like, I got my mojo back. So if you're feeling lazy or you're in a kind of standpoint, just keep showing up for yourself and that will go away. I promise.
Awesome.
And how you doing?
I'm great. For as far as a training log, my training log is blank right now. I just haven't done a whole lot since we got back from Key West. And part of that is intentional. Part of it, it's just, I can't even say life because I don't have anything really big going on. But I did, it got a little chilly for a couple of days. And then I was living vicariously through you all, and I had the winter blues for you. So that being said, I did just discover, a friend of mine, let me back up. I was having a little bit of identity crisis, I think is what I probably tag it to, is that I've for so long was this triathlete and still a coach, but I got to the point too where I'm like, what am I doing now? Because I'm not doing triathlons, just kind of sort of started getting back into running, but it's not my life anymore. It's different. So with that, I'm like, I still do want someone, I get decision fatigue. I want someone to tell me what to do. I don't want to have to go in and start to guess and stand in our guest room with the weights and make stuff up. I want to know somebody just tell me what to do. So a friend of mine introduced me to this app, and I don't know if I can even, I guess I could say what the name of it is, but
What's the name of it?
I know I'm very, very, very late to the game, but I discovered the Peloton app. And
Mm.
I don't have the bike, I don't have the treadmill, I don't have any of the equipment, but the app itself, I'm kind of in love with. I mean, it is very much the honeymoon stage. We just were introduced. Everything is great with it. We're not in a fight, we're not fighting, we're not yelling at each other, but I do love it because it's just, I put in there that I don't even know what the questions were, but kind of selected the workouts I wanted. And it's just giving me things to do every day, whether it's core work or or core work or meditation or upper body. So it's easy. I can even pick the length of the workouts. 20 to 30 minutes is all I really want right now. And that's kind of been where my little slice of heaven has been the last 3 days. It's been very new.
Mm.
so,
I
so
love Matt Wilpers, so
shall I
I'm so
check him
excited
out? Do
for
I
you.
need to add? Okay, I will find that. But I do really I'm very impressed with the interface. I didn't have any idea. I had some athletes that have used it. I have athletes now that are using it for strength training. And it just wasn't part of what I was doing at the time. So I never looked
Yeah.
at it. But also the price is really like, it's
Mm-hmm.
$13 a month. And my friend of mine gave me the referral code and I have 2 months free. So
Nice.
well worth it. Yeah, highly.
I have a lot of athletes who I train, who, I mean, they're amazing programs. So I absolutely incorporate that because I'm like, one, I know it's good coaching, and
Yeah.
two, we sometimes as athletes, as just humans, we just need to be told what to do. Like you just need to hit play, whether that's live or whether that's through an app or through YouTube. Like I get it through
Yeah.
Zwift, all the things, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's my new little thing that I'm kind of enjoying right now. Yeah. How about
Cool.
you?
For both of you, do you have any kind of race on the horizon, event, or anything you think you might want? If you haven't said it, say it now. Make it real.
Okay. Next week, so this is
Oh.
we'll know at the next time. The opening for the High Rocks in July in New York City is opening up. So I am going to attempt to get in. It's kind of like getting into Boston, I feel like. There's no qualification. It's just luck of the draw, go in the lottery. So that's kind of, yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't have to work out, but I feel like once I get on, like, you're confirmed, it becomes real.
So I'm not sure if we mentioned this or not, but you are a High Rocks coach now.
I am.
Yay.
Okay, so will you take clients that way too?
Yeah, I have a few athletes, High Rocks athletes that I currently train. I do actually, initially I started as just the running coach because if you guys don't know anything about High Rocks, it is 50% running. You end up doing an 8K throughout the race. It's run, strength, run, strength, run, strength. And it's interesting. It actually attracts a lot of, if maybe you're a triathlete and looking to try some new disciplines, this is a very great alternative. But I still have thoughts on High Rocks. I'm still not even like, I'm a coach. I coach athletes. I'm creating a High Rocks training plan currently for it. But now I feel like I truly just want to experience it, and then I'll come back and either fall in love with it or hate it. I mean, sounds a lot like running.
Here's the on-the-spot question, if that one wasn't. Do you think having, and I know we talked about this previously, but once you complete it, if you get to compete, do you think it'll change your coaching of High Rocks?
I mean, how I coach an athlete? No. But I think I'll be able to relate a little bit more to it.
Cool.
Yeah, I will say, and I say this honestly, truthfully, is the reason I love running or I love, triathlon is because I love being outdoors. I love being in nature, where High Rocks is a very gym setting. And that's where I keep putting up my wall of like, I can't do this at home. I mean, there's ways to get around it, but it's like you got to push a sled, you got to do a ski erg. Like that's a very specific machine that's only in the gym. Kind of hard to do that. So that's where I'm hesitant, but it's global. It's like this new sensation, this new craze. Everybody's talking about it. And there is a lot of it that I do like about it. So I'm curious. And I think curious is always a scary, fun thing. So yeah.
Yourself, Anne?
I do not have anything on the books. I'm thinking about a few things, more not triathlon related, but more open water swimming related. My only issue is, as crazy as this sounds, I think we talked about this before, I don't have a pool close to me. So finding a pool to be able to obviously train. Our little neighborhood pool is not conducive to getting in the distance that I would need, and to get out to the beach on the weekends is not hard by any means, but it's water's a little chilly right now. So I don't know. I'm going to kind of take it as it comes. I do have a pretty significant shoulder issue. So part of me is like, it's calm while I'm not swimming. And if I go out and test it, I know it's gonna not be good. And then I'm gonna be sidelined for quite a while if I keep continuing. So part of me is like, do I test the limits a little bit, or do I just leave well enough alone and let things be calm and quiet? But the urge to get out there to open water swim is definitely there. So
Motion is lotion.
I'll
Right?
see yeah, this is a little bit more than that, but I'll see what's happening, and see how the shoulder holds up in general. But yeah, I think that's kind of what I've got on the radar. Nothing significant by any means. Probably more honestly, like my joy right now comes from volunteering and helping out, and being at the races. And I've got a friend locally that puts on a race that I'll definitely help her out with. Actually, she's now doing two things, so I'll probably help her out with both if I don't participate in one of them. But that's where I'm happiest right now, at the finish line, watching people finish and do things that they've never thought that they could do before.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I myself have got some things starting up, some things ramping up. So we've talked about Ricky a couple of times on the show. So he's in his final monster week, as I call it, and then he'll go into his 2-week taper. Week for sure. Still not sure if he gets the full 2 weeks yet. The guy is just killing the plan, and he's just having some awesome sessions. So I have no doubt that he'll be representing very, very well at the marathon, Woodlands. Hope I got it right.
Oh yeah.
I think it's the Woodlands Marathon. So it's a basically, I believe. Sorry, Ricky, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a fundraiser, right? And so for cancer. So for the kids, but he tends to work with a lot. So got Ricky ramping up. I got some athletes starting this week, right? So, I just did some social posts, and some newsletter drops and whatnot are coming up about, you got those spring races. Have you started getting ready for them, right? And if you haven't, are you already too late to the game, right? Like 22 weeks on Monday is the minimum I want my ultras to be getting ready, whether you're doing the 50 or the 100 mile or the 100K. Jess is getting all ramped up and getting into the groove again, and it's going to be good. We're really positive outlook for the come August when we're done her triple, right? It's and we're going to talk about how we get athletes to survive that here soon. So myself, really, I'm like you say, Anne, is right now it's just watching a lot of athletes, helping out at events where I can, just trying to plan. Like, we're already planning a lot of the road trips, or we should be starting to plan a lot of the road trips that, people are thinking, oh, July and August is a long time away. And it's like, you're right. But just like your training, if you don't put a plan into it, at least, and figure it out, that stuff creeps up on you. And it's like, I think I've mentioned, we go to the death race. When I'm checking out, I'm already asking them, can I get my room next year? Here's the deposit, right? Because if you don't do it within a week, they're going to be sold out after the previous year is done. Our campsite that we get for the Sinister, the one coming in July, I missed her by 2 weeks, and we've been there for a couple of years now. And she's just like, yeah, we're already full. I'll put you on the wait list. And I'm like, dang. Right?
We should do an entire episode of how to plan for these things, because I feel like that would create a checklist.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
if we've met, right? Like I have my checklist. I've got my reminders and everything, and it's still
Yeah.
sometimes we'll get something. I mean, like you get generators and everything else. We can dry camp somewhere if we need to, right? Which is fine. And they've got. I mean, the race has spots that you can go. I'm not fond of the one spot that they relocated a couple of years ago. So, the group camping, but. Yeah, and it's, I'm getting my couple of runs in a week and getting what we can done in between. I'm in the home stretch
When you
for
say a
some.
couple of runs, do you have like a long run, a short run, an easy run, or is it just how you feel on that day?
It's
Putting you
I'm
on the spot.
I mean, I'm coming off of being really I'm deconditioned right now, right? So I haven't been great. I've had some injuries in the last year or whatever coming back, and then like everybody else, I've been busy, right? I got, school and work and coaching and everything else. And now school is almost done, right? So like as much as I enjoyed it, 22 programs that normally are done in 2 years, I've done over 4 years because you got to fit the training into the chaos, right? And I'm in that second practicum now, which I think is great. I think we mentioned it off air. I am working with the kids over at Cascades Swim Club in Calgary here in Alberta. Awesome kids, right? So we're doing some strength and conditioning with these kids, and these are like, right on the glass, right? You see my post, high performance lab or gym or something, but it's the high performance kids, and I'm enjoying it, right? And it's got me thinking that I might try to work with some of these kids after done the program, right? And it's interesting. So almost done the schooling. I mean, does schooling ever end? No.
No.
Right. I'll find programs somewhere. Like, oh, I want to do this now. I want to do that. This one at Mount Royal University, so it's the personal fitness trainer program. It was a big one to take off, as you know, Alicia. You did yours a while ago, but 22 courses, right? Like it's just
Yeah,
it's
that's incredible.
massive.
I always say the second you stop learning is the second you lose all hope. Like your motivation, you got to kind of recheck yourself. What's your motivation? What's your desire? What's your, how dedicated are you? Because the reality is, like, we have to, like, I feel like I nerd out. I love reading more. I mean, I can say it's now, but I remember I hated doing book reports and all but once you graduate, it's like reading is entertainment. Audiobooks are fun. Podcasts are great. Yeah. So, but it's on your clock and on your time, and you don't get it graded, and you don't have to pay for it. Well,
yeah, that's the other thing. It'll be nice not have to keep having to pay tuition and everything else.
All right, tell us about this triple threat.
Triple threat. So yeah, it's the Sinister Triple. It's a race. So they can do the triple mini. They can do a triple full. So you can do like 3 100-milers within 6 weeks. It's based on. I still don't pretend to fully understand the point system, but it's based on your gender, I think.
Can I just
age.
ask, what is the longest mileage, or does it go by hours in a training week, in your peak week for training for 100 miles?
Okay, so great question. All my training is all by time. The volume is all by time, right? Like we're all too busy to say, okay, today's 10K, tomorrow's 5K. I need you to do your long run. You need to do 25K or, whatever it is. It's because as we know as coaches, the athlete's going to change day to day, right? Based on life stress, work stress, and everything that's coming in. So it's just much easier to plan. Now, the longest that I will do, it's going to be between 3 and 4 hours will be their longest run. After, when you get into and this is where we kind of geek out on the science and the numbers, right? So after about that 3 or 4 hours, the physiological gains that you will get will certainly outweigh the recovery time that you're going to need for that. So you're going to be running harder to get such little gains, but do you actually get those gains because now you've taken extra 2 days off other than just the 1 day?
Absolutely.
Right. And so, some people are probably sitting there going, what, you make somebody go run for 4 hours and they only get 1 day off? It's like, yeah, right. Like that's where I like to cut it off. And again, but it's not you're out there pounding hard. We're still doing 4 hours zone 2. Right. Like,
and running on pavement is different than running in trails.
Absolutely. Right. And so when running in trails, you have to have strength. You have to incorporate strength training. If you don't, it's not if you're going to collapse, like cave in on the run, you will, right? Like you just need this. It's not that it's any harder. It's just different than road running, right? I mean, like road running, you're taking a lot of pounding to the knees and it's just repetitive kind of over and over and over on the same terrain. With the trails, and this is why I love the Black Spur, it's what I call, and most will call, a very technical trail, meaning that, like if you haven't had your coach do plyometrics in that 4th mesocycle, you are probably face planting, right? Like you are going to trip on the roots, especially when you start hitting, well, let's say if you're doing the 54 or something around there, once you start hitting around that hour 8, right? Maybe even an hour 10, like your legs, like you're just going to be heavy. You need the strength training, right? And then when you get into those 100-milers, now we're thinking that you're out there for 24 or maybe 30 hours, right? And so you have to have that. And it's just, the trails are going to be so much more technical, right? So how do you train, right? I get asked this all the time. How do you train to do 3 ultras? How do you pick it? Like, first of all, like, how do you pick to do that on purpose, kind of thing, right? And so, and here's the kicker is that we're still not sure. She actually might do the 4 horsemen. So you do 3 ultras within 3 weeks, and I think they get a couple 3 weeks off again, and then she'll go do one more event. It's Castle Alpine, and that one it's all just crazy vert, right? Like you just go, it's one of the nice ski hills out in the area, out in Alberta here. But I will always tell an athlete, I think, because I've had different approaches. Like, do you make one an A race? Do you make one a B race? Do you make one a C? I think you make all 3 of them. And let me back up. I'll ask the athlete, or I'd ask you, what's the goal? Is the goal that you want the buckle and say you completed the triple? Okay. If that's the goal, you do not have an A, B, and C race in my mind. You have 3 races that you need to finish. So the goal for each one will be finish within the time. If you can do better in each time, you might get some more points. But the one thing I've learned from watching it a couple of times with the point systems and the way it works is that it's so hard to tell, because somebody who you might have raced against that might have been first with you might have missed the next race, or might have done something different in a different race, or run a different distance. And now all of a sudden their points are calculated differently and not maybe kind of towards yours. So it's always kind of comes down to that. Run your own race, even if you're in this, like, and again, you got to remember the points are for people who want a podium as well, right? And so again, is the goal that you want a podium? We're going to try to push each one of those 3 races that you want to complete as quickly as you can. But if you're looking for the buckle, we're going to get you to finish all 3, right? And that is how I would tell the athletes that they need to approach it. And each one is basically going to be, okay, you got 20 hours, 15 hours, whatever the distance is to finish. We're going to try to finish a couple hours under that, right? And that's the goal. That's the pace that we're going to set up.
Wow. I'm imagining your longest run is 3 to 4 hours. Obviously, back, and then you go out and run for 20 miles or 20 hours. It blows my mind, the concept. But that's amazing. And the fact that people do it is wow.
Yeah, and some of them are, I mean, like just some of the records that are being broken out there, some of the like the course records, and you look at the Courtney DeWalters and they're just just smashing it. And
I know we are very much in the Olympics right now, and I've been obsessed.
Yes.
And just seeing some of them, it's been just inspiring. I told my athletes today, this evening, I'm like, I want you guys to all find your inner Olympic athlete in you and now just push a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Sorry,
Yeah, and
continue.
yeah, no, it's very true. I mean, I tell a lot of my athletes, I mean, part of my job is to find your limit. I mean, we all have a limit, and really, I don't think any of us know what that limit is until you push hard enough, do the hard things to find it, and
eat enough carbs.
So
eat enough carbs.
How do you know when your athlete has reached their limit? What is the signal, or what are you looking for that then you're like, okay, that's it, you've reached your limit?
I think it's,
Oh,
I don't know if I've really had any that I found actually their end limits yet. I've come close with an athlete, and it's more been of it's just you know what, like you're pushing the numbers, like the numbers are just, now they're just consistent. Like you're feeling great and everything is going, but just on the physiological level, we're just not necessarily making any more adaptations. And, athletes cover your ears, but you're predetermined at birth. It's predetermined what your physiological ability is already, right? It's already determined if you're, a fast runner, a slow runner, a distance runner. It's all there. Like, and again, I'm talking about finding those ultimate peaks, right?
yeah.
Like I go play softball and I trip on the white line running bases. Right? Like try to get me going around the bases fast and I trip over my feet and I am just not a speed runner. But put me out on the trails and say, go for a long distance. I'm in my happy place.
See,
right?
that's me. I would rather swim 3 miles than run 3 miles. And people look at me like, I don't even understand that. But had I known this was all genetic predisposition or before, I would have been like, I don't know why I'm working so hard. I wasn't meant to do. Yeah, there's not a sprinting bone in this body, but I can, I could be out there. I can run, walk all day long. I could swim all day long. But it's so funny you say that, because for me, it's like an athlete finding that peak. I think there are a couple of different things that I see with some of my older athletes sometimes, and this is, I don't push them to this limit, but sometimes it's just that you get the little crack, and you like the little crack in the base, and then all of the sudden
Those breakthrough workouts.
yeah, you get that, and then they're like, wait a minute, that just worked. Or you call attention to something that they didn't see and you see it. Or like, I think we've talked about this before too on another podcast. It's like repeating a workout that you did at the beginning of the training cycle, and then you pop it in as a coach to, when you are looking at the data and trying to see where they are, and pointing out those wins. I think that's huge also. But yeah, as far as reaching that peak, I think it goes back to, it depends. It depends on the person and the athlete itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, every athlete they're out there listening, thinking that you've found that already, I am willing to bet the house that you have not. Right? We know how much better our performance can be when we actually dial in nutrition, right? Hydration, sleep, strength, everything else, and just tying it all together. I think every athlete out there, you probably got at least twice as much more that you just have untapped right now.
Well, working the mental game, the mental aspect is just another piece of it too, that you've got to believe that there's more. And we all know if you have a bad day and you go out for a run, if your runs, it can go one or two ways. It could be a really great stress reliever. It could be really, really crappy. It's all how you're mentally prepared for it. So yeah, 100%. You can, nutrition, all of that plays a huge piece into it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick your brain one more time because I'm genuinely curious. And I feel like the world thinks it's like you're not a runner until you've run a marathon. And for me, I'm like, now that I could say I did it, I'm all for the half marathon, the 10K. Like I like speed. I like my training being under an hour, and being okay
Yeah.
with that. But what kind of mindset do you have, or how do you even process the thought of going to from a 5K, maybe a 1 mile, to a marathon, to a 50K, to a 50 miler, to a 100 miler, to a 200 miler? I mean, when do you just say one day I'm going to do a 100 miler, or what does that even look like?
Well, I think you talked about it in episode 1 where it's everybody just needs to come up with a goal, and if the goal is scary, right? Like then, I mean, what's scarier than going out into the wilderness and trying to run
Yeah.
100 miles,
I
right?
guess, is there a time cap? I guess
Yeah.
those races have time caps. So
Yep. So they have cutoffs as well. So even if you don't make certain cutoffs, you don't get to kind of go back out and still trying to finish it, right?
Yeah.
So it's every athlete. Like I think, I mean, obviously I'm biased, but so many runners come and they just do a local trail run, they do a short trail run, they do something, and they go, "That is freaking awesome!"
Yeah.
Like you're just out like. Tell me more about these other
Mm.
distances that you do. And it's just like, and please, anybody who's not ever run an ultra or trail, you are not running for 30 hours. Like seriously, we are not Forrest Gump. Right? Like we cannot just run and go, especially, when we're talking thousands of feet of elevation, like over the course of the course. You're not running that, right? You are hiking, power hiking, or you're walking. You're walking it. You're walking portions of the trail, right? You just don't see on all the elite level races, the bad waters and everything else, where, they're walking, or they show them walking into an aid station or something, right? Otherwise, you're a combination. That's cool. That there's a combination of walking, hiking, and so that gets incorporated into the training as well, right? How do you prepare for one of these events, let alone 3 of them? The athlete has to get out to the trails, right? We have to have that specificity into that training. They just got to get out and do it. I have a couple of athletes that were in Saskatchewan here in Canada, and everybody knows Saskatchewan, it is flat, right? And, whatever possessed them to say, I'm going to go run a mountain. But, you can come up with ways to train. So we can train you, right? We can get you off the Stairmaster to treadmill. And, I think we talked about, I don't know if it was offline or online. I do have a specific workout that I will throw in, and it is certain time on a Stairmaster or step climber, and then into the treadmill, right? And then back and forth, and maybe even once in a while throw the bike in there. And I get a lot of people say, well, why can't you just do, the treadmill on a huge elevation? Because it's different, right? I'm sorry, but climbing stairs will be different than just running on a treadmill. Please don't get me wrong. That is good. Kudos if you can do that, right? When you get into the huge percentages on the inclines. But a lot of these climbs that we're doing in these ultras, you are literally like stepping like you are on that step master. Like you're climbing stairs on some of the vert. I'm just like trying to grab onto a branch, not to fall backwards and roll down the hill. Like you're almost scrambling some of them. If anybody knows anything about climbing, right? Like you're just out there. So you can get that kind of training in. Mental work, like you say, is huge. The mental. My athlete, I have this thing. We talked about it. Actually picked it up in Utah, and it was that whole: are you hurt or are you injured? Right?
That was
I
me.
remember. Was that you?
That was me.
Yeah, I stole it and I use it.
No, use it.
It's mine now. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. You can have it.
I'll ask athletes, right? Like I'm like, are you hurt or are you injured? I'm hurting. Yeah, you need to get, an hour past that aid station. You need to do this, you need to do that. And then if you seriously want to DNF, you can walk back. Right? And a couple hours later, you're seeing him at the finish line kind of thing, right? Because the mental work. Jess, was it last year? it's last year or the year before. I don't know. It's all blending together now. She had a double hernia surgery. Right. Got clearance, was able to get back into some training, and then she just did some short distances. But we were out at the death race up in Grand Cache, and I got the call saying, I'm at the checkpoint, but I'm stopping. And I said, you know what I'm asking next, right? She goes, yes, no, it's I'm injured. Like, I need to come down. Like, it's because we went in with a plan, and I do this with a lot of athletes as well, you have to have the what if plan, right? And so we had said, if you are hurting, right? Yeah. If you're injured, yeah. If anything hurting or injured in around the incision or where you had the surgery for the hernias, that is we're deciding now, like, that's a stop. And she's like, yeah. And so when she said that, cool. So I'm like, all right, I'll gather up the kids and we'll come meet you. Because the kids ran their race the next day, so it was not an issue, and we were supporting her anyways. And then she was telling me she had passed the race director, Brian, on the way down, and Brian's like, well, are you quitting? And she goes, yeah, I have to, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, do I have to give you a ride down? She's like, nope, JW's coming. He goes, oh, I love you guys. You got it all figured out. I'm just going to take your timing chips so you don't have to worry about it. I met her. We picked her up. Rest of the weekend, everything was great, right? So you got to have those what ifs. We go in, there's a huge amount of mental training. I don't think we can treat, and please, listeners, this is not just 3 ultras within 6 weeks. You want to do some back-to-back marathons. You want to do some back-to-back half marathons, triathlons. I've been doing some consult calls, and someone's saying, yeah, I want to do a 70.3, and then 2 months later, I want to do the full Ironman, right? Like, that's going to be a pretty big undertaking, right? Like, I have never competed at that level in triathlon. I know what it was like at the level I did compete at. So that's huge, right? There's going to be big tolls on the body.
And what is the average time it takes to do a full Ironman?
Ooh.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like we hear a lot about the pros and going sub 10 or, but what is an average full Ironman distance time?
What we call the recreational athlete, I guess.
Age groupers.
I feel like it can range between, I feel like men, probably 12, 13 hours, somewhere around there. I think women, I'm going to probably get some hate comments for this. I don't know. I would say
and I think there's
13 to
cutoffs
15.
as well.
There are cutoffs along the way. There are cutoffs.
Iron as well.
Yeah, absolutely, for the swim, for every discipline. But you do have 17 hours to do.
17 hours is the cutoff.
So, but I would say on average, like, recreational athlete for, I would say 15 hours probably.
Yeah.
For full Ironman.
For full Ironman, yeah.
Okay.
For half, I think it can vary. And again, like, for female athletes, I think we're looking at probably, I don't know, 6.5, 7, somewhere in around there. And then men are just, always a little bit faster. So, yeah, but it's still.
And then you look at an ultra 100-miler.
Yeah.
And it's 20 plus. It just blows my mind that we exist. This exists.
And people do it, and people are out there. I think there was a big article written years ago. I think it was in Triathlete magazine about. It went into the very, very specific details about the toll that an Ironman race will take on your body. And it breaks it down into, like, the first 24 hours you're doing this, and the damage that is done, it takes, I don't care how well you recover. You could do all of the right things. The damage is there. You don't put your body through that for 13, 14, 15 hours and not have something going on for quite a few weeks afterwards.
Absolutely. I 1,000% agree, right? Remember, triathlon is 3 events.
Yeah.
Right? We're doing ultras, it's running.
Right.
Which again
it's different.
Sets you up for more potential injury, which is why you need that strength training even more, because it's one movement, constant, over and over and over and over.
Well, yeah, and it's the everybody loves to, if they do any kind of strength, it's always I need strong calves. I need calves for running.
Oh Lord.
What
Okay,
is that?
have you ever tried to
Isn't that a
run
genetic
downhill?
thing too? Aren't your calves are genetically predetermined as well?
I
I don't know.
don't know.
Maybe.
I was just
No,
listening.
I think you can build them. I mean, like it's all about
Have
the,
you ever seen somebody with chicken legs build their chicken legs? I mean, okay, quads maybe, but I don't think it is on the calves.
Somebody
Stay
asked
tuned.
Gemini or
We're all
AI.
going to research this after the
Yeah.
after the show. Oh, yeah, it's running downhill. Right. So, and remember, I mean, you just spent an hour climbing. There's a chance you're coming down an hour somewhere, right? And some of it might be great vertical down, some of it might not be. So there's a lot that definitely goes into these. I mean, and again, please, it's any, when we're talking here, is like you're saying with those halves, like 70.3s and the full Ironmans. When I say, like, you want to do a 70.3 and then go do a full Ironman, so many weeks or even a month, 2 months later, you still need to recover, right? And so what I tell my athletes, and all my athletes have this, trade secret if you want. When they are done an event, the day after, and I don't care if it's an ultra, if it's a triathlon, if it's anything, right? Any events that they're doing, the next day, minimum 1 hour walk, right? They need to do that the next day. That's not negotiable with me. And then depending on the event they're doing, so, in this case, we're doing these ultras, there's 3 days total. So the 3 days after the event, there's a minimum 1 hour walk. We're not doing anything else. And then when you come in, I think we talked about this. And then when you come and talk to me and you're saying, hey, coach, I'm ready to go. And I said, doubtful, but let's chat, right? Like you may feel great on the outside, but as you both just mentioned, the damage that's done on the inside can still feel great. And the 3 markers that I always use are, is your sleep back to normal? Are you eating normally again? And are you properly hydrating? Those 3 things have to happen with my athlete before I even start to entertain a zone 1 workout or something, right? And if they're, so on these ultras, I'm going to say they're probably going to get 4 days of walking, 4 or 5 days of walking. We're going to come back really light, and then we're just going to bridge it, right? Like we just have to bridge, and it's, and they need to go in and understand that we are going to, for that first one, I want you at the absolute peak we can get you for fitness. So let's call that 120 or something in the 120 or above, if we can, in the training peaks on their fitness. That way, we're going to be losing fitness, right? So you're going to be losing fitness, but by the time you get to that third one, and that's totally okay. We want that, right? We don't want you to try to maintain that 120 because it's just not going to happen. You're going to stress yourself out. Start stressing yourself out, injury is going to happen, as we all know. So they'll have those 4 or 5 days of walking. Their fitness will come down. Then we try to maintain. So wherever that number lands, whatever it is, we try to maintain that, right? And so it's almost like another kind of like a 2-week taper, but it's not a taper. It's more of we just want to maintain. So that next week we're going to do some weights. We're going to do some decent runs, and then we're going to kind of almost treat it like another taper a little bit, go get that massage, go get, start the carb loading and start all the other things that we normally do, get them into that race again, 4 or 5 days. It might even be an extra day. I expect it to be maybe another day more walking than it was from the first event, just because that fatigue is going to be building, right? Whether they think they're shedding it or not, that fatigue is there. And again, when we find out what that number is, we hold it and then we get them to the last one, right? And if there's something that they can, if there's anything left in the tank, yeah, sure, right? Like, you're on the back half of that race, start giving her if you want, because, the buckle's in sight, sure.
But you're also gaining a huge amount of fitness in the race.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, you would. It kind of comes back to that. Why do I peak at 4 hours, at 3 to 4 hours? They will gain that fitness, but then how much extra are they going to right? And again,
Which is again
I
why
think
you need longer recovery as well.
right.
Mhm.
So and that is, I'm going to say that is the kind of approach that I'm going to take with most of the, the masters and or the recreational athletes. If you've been
Mhm.
with me and I know you've been training all through the winter and everything is all kind of there, we can probably bump that a little harder, but it's going to be
Mm.
athlete specific. But that's the general approach
Yeah.
that I would take. And again,
Yeah.
it's going to be no different than if you said to me, I want to do 2 marathons, 3 marathons in 6
Mhm.
weeks, right? Or 3 weeks, 6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And or I want to do 270.3s. I want to do 4
Yeah.
Ironmans this summer or whatever it is.
Oh.
So
Mhm.
what would you do different? Do you kind of do something along that line, or how would you approach that?
For 3 ultras
Doing
in 6 weeks?
or any event, any endurance event in such a short duration.
Mm. Uh, yeah. So it's funny. I mean, so say for an Ironman, it's very normal to do a 70.3 in a training block leading towards your A race.
Right.
It's very common to do a half marathon leading into
Yep.
a marathon. So those are the guarantees. I expect that almost. But there is to be said, if you say you do a marathon in October, by the end of November, so after about 3 or 4 or 5, 6 weeks, you can get another amazing fitness stimulus simply by recovering and maintaining fitness and just doing a little, like maybe a 2-week training block and still almost get a PR in that half marathon. Maybe not quite a PR because obviously a marathon build is a lot different than a half marathon. It's obviously faster and more speed. But a lot of people will do is they'll do their big A race and then they just stop or they go back into and then that's another kind of question I get from athletes is, but I have all this fitness, I want to keep going. And that's also a fine line of, well, you run a really high risk of getting injured right now if we just keep going. So no matter what, you need to have that recovery block. You need to definitely prioritize that strength training, but obviously there's no reason to not have to. I mean, do I say you're going to lose fitness? It's just a different kind of fitness you got to build. A lot in my live classes, we do like 4 weeks of endurance, 4 weeks of resistance, 4 weeks of power. And then people are like, well, what do you do when you go power? It's like, well, you go back to endurance. So you're constantly getting different stimulus to keep things changing, keep things moving, to keep things growing. So again, I think if your training week if you don't have progressive overload, if you're just doing the same thing, you're only working out 45 minutes every single day doing the same thing and wondering why isn't anything changing, how's your nutrition, how's your sleep, where can we improve, where can we grow, where can we get better?
Well, I
But
think you have to have that decrease in fitness. Like you come off of those. So I'll use
absolutely.
Jess as an example again. She went into last year's season, I think, at a 117 for fitness in training peaks, right? So think of the surgeries and just think of all the kind of setbacks or whatever. But I think she went in with a 117, and right now
Is that
she's at,
117? That's really good, isn't it?
I think it's average.
Fitness?
I think so.
Like from
I mean, it's all going to be relevant to your
Okay.
athlete, right?
Okay.
But oops, I didn't want to do that. Sorry, technology. Yeah. So right now she's at 68. So she just started her 22-week block to get there. So she's starting at 68. That was a totally comfortable, good number to have in the off season, right? And so that is still a good fitness. I mean, like at the end of the day, I mean, again, the numbers are all relative, like, and we're going to
Okay.
talk about
Well,
that
that's why I
very
was like,
quickly.
wait, 68 is a great number. When you said 117 is like not that great, and I was thinking to myself, wait a second, that's a really good number.
It's
We're
all
talking
gonna be
about
athlete
training
dependent.
peaks when you look at your performance management chart, right? Your fitness,
Yeah.
your form, and your
Fatigue,
fatigue.
form,
Thank you.
and fitness. Yeah.
But here's
FYI.
my question on that. So you're looking at those numbers, and we could go into this whole deep dive on all of those numbers too. So
Mhm.
it's only measuring. I have I have some qualms with those numbers. I have some issues. So fatigue is only being measured by your workout. It's not showing the stress is stress. Like that's my other big thing. Are you injured? Are you hurt? My other big one is like stress is stress. So you're looking at the fatigue, but it's only measuring the workout fatigue, right? Not life, not the job, not all of those other things. So that fatigue number is usually, it's probably higher is my guess, that life is not, I don't know. My guess is that it's really truly higher. So also here's where I don't put a lot of, personally, I don't put a lot of like faith into those numbers simply because something is wacky with my Garmin. And I'm showing like, and it has been through all of my Key West training.
You must be getting like 900 TSS scores.
Yes, 100%. So are you, and maybe you are, I'm like a legitimate question, are you really going into all of your athletes and looking at that specific number? And if it is off, the TSS, because now mine's like through the roof. You're right, Alicia. I was hitting like 600, 700. I think the race day was like 900. I have no idea how to fix that. But if
I
y'all,
can help you out.
I was going to say, if you can. But are you, because then what happens if that number is off? It affects all of the workouts. So are you then going in and taking the time to backload and fix the other workouts? Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And I'm going to say no. And this is almost a great segue into the second part that we're going to talk about. But I'll say, I will argue a little bit that the life stress does show up somewhat in that stress score, if you want to call it, in the workout or overall, right? So, because if you come stressed, you probably have elevated heart rates and everything. And like your system is more cortisol, whatever it is that's going on.
Sure.
I think the workout will still pick that up. Like you're coming in already on edge, I guess, if you want, or fatigued, and then you try to do the session. Is it great? Perfect?
Right.
I'm going to say no. But what's the goal? What do we want? So when I talk about the numbers and you say like, do I go in and I look at them and will I go back and change them? I'm going to say generally no, but I do look at them from week to week and just say your fatigue last week was this number. Your fatigue is right now is this number. I'm looking for trends in the amount of increase in volume that I'm giving them and making sure that they're handling it okay. And this, though, is coupled with RPE, right? So all my athletes, I'm like, you need to put comments after every session. Felt great, slow to start, finish strong, whatever it is, right? Do the smiley faces. That workout was great. That one sucked. Whatever it is. And then do the RPE. Did you feel strong? Did you feel weak? And so I kind of look at all of that. And then I will look at those numbers. Yeah. And so that's kind of where I will look at those. And I mean, in the science, you want the form and the fatigue at race day to be as close together as possible. Really is what Training Peaks is designed on the end of it. And I just had this conversation with a new athlete this week, or was it a consult? Can't remember. I was speaking with an athlete and they said like my fitness and all the numbers in Training Peaks are like dropping. I thought they were supposed to increase and I go, how long you been with Training Peaks? I've had it for a few weeks. We need 90 days. Our Training Peaks needs that 90 days to start building a lot of that. And obviously the more you have, the more it is. So I think this is a great way. Does that kind of answer the question, Ann?
Yeah, it does. And I think everybody,
okay.
I'm tracking with you, but this is a great segue into, go ahead.
Wearables.
Wearables and what.
Right. And so, and we've had many of these conversations, right? About, the numbers. And I think this is a really good point to say is that when we're looking at those numbers, how many times does your watch, and how many social posts do you see? I just had the best round of my life and Garmin says I'm unproductive, right? My Garmin will tell me, and again, this is all, I just happen to own a Garmin. I'm not, bashing Garmin or anything, but you had a great sleep. You got 100 sleep score. And I'm just like, you do know I was up with the kid and went to the washroom twice and tossed and turned for an hour. And yet it's telling me I had an awesome sleep. The numbers to me on most of these things will be guidelines or the bumper rails at the bowling alley, right? They're just to kind of keep you in a lane and just know if you deviate in that lane. Like, how can my wrist really know what kind of sleep I had? I ask you kind of at the end of the day, right? Like, yeah, it goes off like all this. I think Dr. Steven Sealer did Fast Talk Labs. He did an awesome episode on wearables, right? So we look at all these wearables and how many things does it measure, right? Like the more things it measures, the more they can charge for the watch and the more people want to buy it because it does everything. But
I always say, listen to it when it's nice to you.
Yes.
That's right.
So I have a question for both of you.
Yeah.
What wearables, number one, have you tried? And number two, what are you currently using? So, and by a wearable, I mean anything that's going to measure HRV, any of that stuff, even like at night. So what have you tried and what are you currently using? Alicia?
We're going to pause right there. We covered the strategy of the Sinister Triple. However, next week in part 2, we're going to war with our watches. We dive into the data trap, the headphone debate, and why I'm assigning you a naked run. Make sure you're subscribed so you can catch part 2. I'm Coach JW. See you on the trails.